Hello there and welcome to the Power of Story Pins. My name is Dee and I'm a Pinterest strategist and coach at DD Creative, and today I want to talk about Pinterest Story Pins. So Pinterest rolled out Story Pins a little while ago and hopefully you've started taking advantage of them for your business. If not, follow along while I explain Story Pins and what they are and why you should consider using them as a part of your Pinterest strategy. Pinterest has said that story pins are a work in progress and aren't available to everyone yet. So note that if you are not located in the US, you may not have access to story pins. Now, if you are in the US and don't yet have access, you can request access at pinterest.com/storypininvite. For a long time, I wasn't keen on trying story pins, but I finally decided to give them a go. So what is a story pin? Well, basically it is a pin with multiple pages. You can publish up to 20 pages within your story pin, and they are recognisable by the story icon at the top left of the image, as you can see on this picture here. That icon will tell you how many pages that story pin has. So you will see here that my story pin, the icon tells me there are 8 pages for this story pin. When would you use a story pin? So let's talk about what story pins are perfect for. So a story pin is perfect for multiple videos, multiple images, lists, tutorials such as a recipe, or to showcase your products within your store. One thing you must note is that you can only access story pins if you have a Pinterest for Business account. If you don't already have a Pinterest for Business account, now's the time to switch. It's not hard to do and you won't be disadvantaged in any way. So why would you create a story pin? Well, number one, it's a great way to educate your audience. They're also a great way to showcase your product or service. They're a way in which to build your brand, and they will help you to become recognized as an expert in your niche. Now you can create your story pin on both desktop and mobile. One thing you should note, don't confuse these with Instagram stories. A story pin will stay on your board once it's been published, just like a regular pin. Now let's talk about the positives of a story pin. So story pins are fairly new to Pinterest, and as a result they will be given preference over regular pins. What does this mean? They will get some special treatment from the Pinterest algorithm, and we're all trying to find a way to beat the algorithm, right? In a nutshell, story pins will be given more exposure than regular pins, and they will be distributed to a larger audience than your regular pins. Now, there are some negatives of a story pin. The number one negative for me is that any links within your story pin are not clickable. Now, this is a bit of a shame, really, and it's probably one of the main reasons why I haven't bothered with story pins until now. Basically, Pinterest seems to be trying to keep people on the platform, which is obviously similar to many other social media platforms. Now, let's talk about the pin dimensions. So the dimensions of a story pin are 900 pixels by 1600 pixels, which is the same as an Instagram story. So you could potentially repurpose your Instagram story into a Pinterest story pin. The upside of this is that your Pinterest story pin won't disappear like it does on Instagram. So how do you create a story pin? So simply go to the top left of your Pinterest page and click on Create, as you will see here on the left image, and you will see Create Story Pin. Click on Create Story Pin, and then click on the big red Create Story Pin. From there, you can then drag and drop or click to add your images or videos. So your first pin will be your story cover. So you can also rearrange your pins during the creation of your story pin. You can add images, video, and text to your story pin. You can also customize each page with text styles and colors. Be sure to research your keywords so that your pin will be found by your ideal audience. You can rearrange your pins during the creation of your story pin. And here's a great thing, once you've hit publish, you can still go back and edit your pin by clicking on the pencil which is located on the top right of your pin. So my experience with story pins is that I was certainly hesitant to start creating them, mainly because I could not add a clickable link. I figured if I can't direct my audience to my blog post or call to action, then what was the point? But I decided to try them anyway. I created a story pin a few days ago, and in less than 24 hours, I had more than 5,000 impressions. I also had someone interact with a heart emoji, so that's great, right? I have since learned to add a call to action in the last pin to encourage that person to follow through to either my website or social media. After getting more than 6,000 impressions within a couple of hours on my next story pin, I've decided that this might well become a part of my online strategy. These are the stats of one of my story pins after only a couple of hours of posting. So as you can see, there are more than 7,000 impressions, and this number is how many people have seen the pin in their feed as they are scrolling. I've had 39 close-ups, which means that 39 people have clicked through on each of the images, and 4 repins. Note that these stats are only after 2 hours. I'm expecting them to improve even more. What I'm really looking for is more close-ups and more repins. This means that my story pin will get seen in front of even more people. So let's talk about best practices for your story pin, and I have a bit of a checklist here. First of all, you need to ask yourself the following. Am I solving a problem with my story pin? Does my story pin inspire action? Meaning, does the pinner want to learn more about me or my product or my service? Will my audience want to save the story pin? Are my images and videos of high quality? Blurry images are the worst. Is your text clear and relevant? Am I using relevant keywords? So first of all, don't keyword stuff. Ensure you are writing in a language that is clear and easy to understand. Be sure to do your homework and research your relevant keywords. Are my titles helpful and searchable? Again, keywords are still super important. And will my story pin have at least 5 pages? Remember, you can have up to 20 pages maximum. Pinterest recommends a minimum of 5 for your story pin to be successful. Some top tips for Pinterest success with your story pins. You can repurpose your Instagram stories because these are the perfect size for story pins. Use as many pages as possible. Remember, you do have 20 pages at your disposal. Try video. Research and stats show that video is still super popular. And do what works for you and your audience. Focus on fresh content. Stop repinning older content. And it's time to start thinking outside of the box. Be consistent and use Google Analytics to understand what your audience is looking for and what is working for you. So now's the time to ask yourself, where are you seeing success? Emulate that where possible. So a little bit about me. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Dee and I'm a Pinterest strategist and coach. I'm the founder of DD Creative. I'm also the creator of Pinterest Firestarter, which is a Pinterest course for online business owners. I'd love to connect with you. You can find me on Pinterest, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and also on my website. And thank you so much for joining me. If you have any questions, please leave a comment below. and I'd love it if you would subscribe for more videos and tutorials just like this one.